So we're now moving on to our last video of this unit, which is going to be solving multi-step inequalities. So just like when we were solving just regular inequalities, you'll see it's going to be identical to what we were just doing, solving multi-step equations. The only difference is when we answer it, we also are going to have to graph our solution as well. All right, so our learning objective is know how to solve multi-step inequalities. And remember, when we are simplifying, or if we are performing operations, we're simplifying an expression, we will follow PEMDAS. And when we are solving our equations or our inequalities, we are actually going to do these in a reverse order. All right, so it's the exact same thing that we were just doing for equations, except for we're adding one thing when we are going to, after we get our solution, we're then going to graph it. All right, so it's just a couple problems we're going to go through together, and then that'll be it for this video. All right, so remember, in order for us to solve and then graph this inequality, we first have to isolate our variable. We can't graph this inequality as is. We would have to go ahead and isolate x and then graph our solution. So remember, when we're normally doing this, we follow our PEMDAS. Well, now we're going to do this in a reverse order. So the first thing we're looking for is there any addition or subtraction I can get rid of? Well, when I look, I see that there is an addition here. So that means I need to get rid of that. Well, what is our inverse operation of addition? Well, our inverse operation of addition is going to be subtraction. So I know in order for me to get rid of this plus 4, I need to go ahead and subtract 4 to both sides. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. 4 minus 4 is 0, so they cancel. So now I'm left with 3x is greater than or equal to 19 minus 4 is 15. Now I look and see, what else is being done to my variable? Well, it's 3 times x. That's how we would read that. So this is then going to be multiplication. Well, what is my inverse operation of multiplication? I know it's going to be division. So since it's 3 times x, to get rid of that times 3, we need to divide by 3. And what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. And then from here, I know that 3 divided by 3 is 1, so we will just be left with 1x. So let me say x. And then it's going to be greater than or equal to 15 divided by 3 is 5. All right, so we are only just doing the basic inequalities right now. There are going to be harder questions that you will learn in the future for sure. For now, we're just going over the basic steps of this, and then you guys will learn it more in depth for years to come. There's going to be one thing that you're going to learn, well, what happens when we divide or multiply by a negative number. For now, we're not going to do anything with that, but you'll see everything for right now, it's just following exactly like we just did with equations. So just make sure that however our inequality is, that you're not switching our inequality. It remains the same. All right, and now remember, we look at our inequality and we ask ourselves, is this going to be a closed circle or is this going to be an open circle? Well, remember, when it's equal to, and it's not just greater than or less than, but it's equal to, we know it's a closed circle. So at 5, I will go ahead and put a closed circle. All right, then from here, remember, we're breaking our graph into 2 separate regions. We have the region to the right and we have the region to the left. Well, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick 2 different numbers. I'm going to pick 0, and then I'm going to pick 10, just because I feel like those are easy numbers to work with. So first, let me go ahead and plug in the 0. Remember, we plug it back into our original problem. If you guys make a mistake somewhere with your work, you guys will then go ahead and be able to see by plugging it into the original that you did make a mistake. So we'll ask ourselves, 3 times 0 plus 4, is this greater than or equal to, is this greater than or equal to 19? Well, 3 times 0 is 0, 0 plus 4 is 4, and 4 is not greater than or equal to 19. So we know that this is not a solution, so that means every other point is not going to be either. And then when I go ahead and pick 10, well, does 3 times 10 plus 4, is this greater than or equal to 19? Well, 3 times 10 is 30. 30 plus 4 is 34. And we know that 34 is, in fact, greater than or equal to 19. So we know that this is a solution. So that means my graph would have to be going to the right. Right? As you guys get more comfortable with this, it just is also going to be common sense here as well, where the numbers must be greater than or equal to 5. Well, which side has the numbers that are greater than or equal to 5? That will be this right side here, because all of these numbers are less than 5. So we wouldn't include those since our numbers must be greater than or equal to 5 based on the way it's written here. All right. Once you guys get comfortable with this, you'll be able to start graphing these a lot easier and quicker. But for now, if you guys are not comfortable, pick a number and plug it in, because that will verify whether or not that region is in fact correct. And it's also something that you're going to be doing when you get into 8th grade, 9th grade, and some higher level maths to test our regions. All right, there's only going to be a couple more questions that we'll go through, and that'll be it for this video. Actually, just for interest of time, since we've already gone over solving equations in another video and it's the same steps, this is going to be the last video, and we'll work on these for the next couple days. All right, but remember, the first thing we need to do is isolate our variable x. We have our PEMDAS, and we're going to be working in reverse order. So what I'm going to do now, just to give you guys another way of seeing this, what you could do is read this question first. X divided by 5 minus 8 is less than 12. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to go over and I'm going to highlight the operations that I know is being done to my problem, to my variable. So I see, okay, I had division and subtraction is being done. So now I look and see, well, which one do I need to get rid of first? Well, subtraction will come first since we're working from the bottom up. And to get rid of subtraction, I know I need to do addition. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 8 to both sides, and that will help me get rid, because minus 8 plus 8 is going to give me 0, so it will get rid of our minus 8 of our subtraction. So now I'm left with x over 5 is less than 20. All right, and now I know already, because I wrote this off to the side, that I don't need to worry about addition. The next one is going to be division. How do I get rid of division? Through multiplication. So when I see x divided by 5, well, to get rid of that divided by 5, I need to multiply by 5. And what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Well, here, 5 divided by 5 is 1, so I'm going to be left with just 1x, or I can just write x. So x is less than 20 times 5, which is 100. All right, remember, once we go ahead and do that, the first thing that we do is we look at our inequality and we say, okay, is this going to be a closed circle or is this going to be an open circle? Well, since it's not equal to and it is just less than, I know it is going to be an open circle, because remember, when it's closed and solid, it means we include it as part of our solution. 100 works. When it's open, that means it's not included, so 100 is not a solution, and 100 is not less than 100, it is equal to. All right, now we know that this breaks our graph into 2 separate regions. Once again, hopefully maybe by now you guys are able to identify which way you're going to graph this, but we're just going to go ahead and plug it into our equation. We have our left side and we have our right side. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick strategically. Since I'm dividing by 5, I'm going to pick 95 as a number, and then I'm going to pick 105 as a number. All right, I'm not going to pick any of the other ones because I'm going to be dealing with decimals at that point. So just to make it easier for me, I'm going to pick them. All right, once again, I'm going to plug it in. X over 5 minus 8, is this less than 12? This is the question I'm going to be asking myself. Well, 95 minus, or divided by 5 minus 8, is this less than 12? Well, 95 divided by 5 is 19, and 19 minus 8 is in fact less than 12, because that is 11. So 11 is less than 12. So I know that this region works. So that means all of the points in that region works. Let's just plug in the other one just to be certain that it's not going to work. Well, 105 minus 5 divided by 8, is this less than 12? Well, 105 divided by 5 is 21, and 21 minus 8 is going to give me 13. 13 is not less than 12, so I know that this region does not work. So that means I need to draw my graph going to the left. All right, and we could have identified this because we're looking for all of our values that are less than 100. Well, obviously 101, 102, and all those are not less than 100, so we know that we're not going to draw it that way. And we know that all these values here are in fact less than 100. And we can verify our answers by plugging them in. All right, that is it for this video.